Hey, welcome back to In the Chute. This is where my son Calen tries to give me some issue or thing to talk about, and maybe sometimes stump me, sometimes trying to eke a little bit of information out that I'm trying to not divulge yet till I'm on my deathbed. Anyway, what do you got, Calen?
If we do that, we're gonna be hurting. The 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 pains of social media and YouTube. I am the producer, so to speak, of all of the stuff that the viewers may see on YouTube. Um, I do a lot of the social media stuff. Mom and dad will send me pictures. They'll tell me what's going on. I try to post regularly. I consistently fail at being regular about it. I'm on Twitter for us, watching other accounts, replying, trying to be interactive, get some information, share that. But the real struggle comes to YouTube. We do these sit downs on a weekly basis, typically, and we do the Zoom calls that a lot of people would see these particular things, the side by side faces where we have discussion. But the ones that tend to be the most popular are the educational segments that we started producing for some of our partners over on the western part of Montana. And it turned into people were interested in it. And so now it's kind of a running thing that, typically every other week we'll produce a 20-minute segment, maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter. But I wanted to get dad's input, some of his things into the pains of making all the content, because he is essentially the content creator and I'm just the one that tries to bundle it all together and then produce it. So I wanted to throw that out there as the generalization of what happens, and then get what your input and your perspective is on all of that.
This is tough, and I'm not a tech guy. And when you say bundle, it almost sounded like you said bumble, and that's probably what happens from my end
Probably
of it.
on
So
both sides. Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting to me. Some of the topics that people find interesting, because there are so many things that you're doing that are just so mundane that
Yeah.
you would never expect, and you mention it to somebody, especially our partners over there at the Dunroven Ranch, and they'll say, "Oh my God, we want to know more about that." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" So overlooking a lot of what we think is just not worthy of talking about are some of the little nuggets in there that is, people are curious about. So I guess there is nothing off the table, and we're only as limiting as what we think is important, and we got to. I personally have to stop that, and like, it could be important. It may
Yeah.
sound stupid to us, but you never know. So,
Well, and
um,
this, it's interesting too, because like you said, some of the mundane things, like one of our recent videos, it just hit over 100,000 views. That's new for us. We've never had anything go over 20 some thousand views. So that one went out. That's almost a year old of a video, and it's just simply us putting the bulls out with the cows for breeding season. And that was
yeah.
just a hey, we're gonna put it out there. And then there's other ones that we were like, it's probably not that interesting, but we'll put it on there. Like I think the generator wiring that you did, and we were right.
Oh,
There's only a couple hundred views. That's it.
yeah.
Like maybe 300 or 400 people have seen it. But then again, one side is it is mundane and nobody wanted to check it out. That's okay. But then the other one is it's also mundane, but apparently everybody wanted to see it. So it's weird for us.
Yeah. And it's difficult. There's a lot of times I want to get something done or need to get something done.
Yeah.
And I'll just like, oh crap. I didn't bring that microphone, because
Yeah.
we've tried to make this so it's easy for people to listen to, and nothing worse than turning on a video and you can't hear what people say. And we've done plenty of those.
And
Wind
the
conditions
wind.
is tough for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
It's really hard for us.
It's really hard. This is windy country. So, you try to do that. Um, there are technical issues. It amazes me how sometimes the technology is phenomenal, and other times it's like, what? It's got a kind of an evil soul of its own. It just does not want to cooperate. Sometimes it's like,
Well, and
how
it's
the
also
heck does it
efficient
happen?
at times, and then like what
Right.
we're learning too is like storage. Like it's so cumbersome at times. We got to upload it to a device, get it onto the cloud, so that then I can access it from 1,500 miles away. So I can download it to my device and then to my storage device, and then all throughout those processes, we have to delete so that we save space. And it's
Right.
just it's very crazy.
It's very cumbersome. And I'm not a tech guy, and it is
I mean,
frustrating for me. I just want to be able to push the button and it works and I can send it to you. I thought I was doing pretty good there, and
Yeah.
until all of a sudden it's like you only have 38 seconds of film left or storage left for filming. I'm like,
What?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So uh the other part of that is getting good content. I mean, I think I know what I would like to see, and I kind of try to do it from that perspective. But there are times the cattle stuff is not bad. I can normally do that. Uh, and if I have to be interactive, like pulling a calf, for instance, I can set up a tripod, easy, no big deal. Single camera. It's my pocket telephone. It's
Yeah.
this is not high tech, thank
Mm.
God, or I couldn't do it probably. But it's not staged. It just is. You're just putting a camera up where you happen to be doing some work. If I'm out there, we're doing some stuff, some shoot work, same thing. But then there's times when I can grab that camera and I can be walking through a bunch of cows, or I can be horseback and I pull it out of my pocket and I'm filming as I'm going along, or some issue. Not a big deal. The hard stuff, and it's nearly impossible for me to do, is to do horse work and have decent filming and not have a horse coming in and out of the picture all the time, or me doing something, because you can't get you need to be close enough that you can film and get some value out of it, but not so close that the horse is in and out of the picture all the time. That just, it doesn't make any sense. So um horse work is very difficult. But now that your mother is retired from school teaching, until I kind of make her life so claustrophobic with me being around that she goes, I got to go get another job. you know, uh, she's doing some of that stuff, and it really helps. It makes a big difference. So we're hoping that some of the content she can help with, and we were out doing some fencing the other day, um, and she had the camera as I was doing most of the work, and I looked at the storage on there, and there's pictures of her pug dog. There's some really cool artistic stuff that she took of some old cedar posts, and they got a little bit of weather to them, and a chain piled up there. And I'm like, okay, this is not adding to this.
This is
these
also why
videos.
her storage is worse than everybody else's. But
Yes,
yeah.
yes. She's got that artistic eye, and she sees something and she wants to take a picture of it. And it's like, I do too. But then I think about, okay, when I'm on, again, we talked about deathbed. When I'm on my deathbed, am I really going to care about this? Is anybody else going to care about it? Hardly anybody. No, there might be some personal pictures, that family stuff that we will care about, that I wish I had of my grandparents or great grandparents. I wish I had that. And I don't. But is life going to end because of it? No. So it's about letting some of that stuff go, trying to get as good a shots as you can, and letting it go, and producing something for you to then take. And I try to chop that stuff up. I'll review a video as I'm doing. I'm going, this isn't very good, but I'll keep the camera going. It's like, oh man, I'm glad I did, because this came up. And
Mhm.
then you
Get a 15-second segment out of 3 minutes,
yeah,
and hey,
yeah,
at least it helped.
yeah, yeah, and it puts maybe some context to it.
Yeah.
And there's 9 times out of 10, I'll be done filming something and go, oh, I should have mentioned that. That's kind of important.
Yeah.
You don't, and there'll be other times, and some of these will be kind of repetitive. I mean, we'll have lots of calving seasons, but there's always something that seems to come up that's a little different, and something of value there, that's you maybe have seen most of the content before, but some little thing will be different. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in a way that people will want to keep watching. And 100,000 views on something's like, oh my God, that happened because people are watching, and maybe hopefully interested in what we've got to offer. And we appreciate that. I appreciate that greatly, because that's makes us feel like, maybe we're doing some good things on, and educating some people, or maybe even entertaining them. I don't know. If you can get a little of both out of that, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You said the hardest thing to do, making the some of the content with like the horses and stuff like that. What's some of the stuff that you've done that you really enjoyed, and you thought like that was one of the easier things to do, just by like how the task is? It's just easy to film it and do it every time. And then like what is it that you've enjoyed doing too? What has there been any particular instance or something that you're like, man, I just really enjoyed filming that. That was kind of cool.
Um, you know, I think pulling calves.
Yeah.
part of that is because I mean,
You're
you're
working.
involved with that. You're working and you're trying to save this calf's life, or maybe the
Yeah.
pair, maybe the cow too. And it works out. So far, we've been lucky, you know, and there's going to come a time when we're going to pull a dead calf. I mean, it's going to
Yeah.
happen. We've just gotten very, very lucky. We don't have to pull many calves, so that chance of that happening are really greatly reduced because of it. It's a numbers game. But there's that. Um, Going from a, even if it's somewhat difficult to do, but the final message is kind of nice. It took 60 days to film feeding a beef heifer.
Mm. Yep.
You know, I mean, that's and there's sometimes you're filming, sometimes you're not, and you're getting different stages of it. We tried to get a kind of a beginning, middle, and an end, but there was a lot of film taken in between that to try to get something that would come up or something worth talking about. But some of these are, you know, they're not just going out and filming for 20 minutes. Some of them are. Some of them are that simple.
Yeah,
You know,
like
fencing.
branding was a good example of that. Most of it was filmed in a day, and
Yeah,
it was just
yeah,
segments here and there, and did it and put it all together. But yeah, you're right.
yeah.
There are other times where it's a 60-day feed out.
Right. Well, and training a horse, working on some
Yeah.
groundwork on a horse, even just the groundwork, um, is somewhat difficult because you're doing so many different things, and you may be trying to tell a story there or give an idea, and it goes backwards. The horse regresses, which is part of the training. That's okay. But then you've got all of this film that you're trying to put together. And then when you have something like that happen where you're going backwards in the training, that provides some context and some content, but it also chews up time, you know, so because we don't want our videos to be so long that people don't want to watch them. That's why
All
would you
right.
do that? And I don't think they're that interesting. So you want to pack as much into a message as it takes for, you know, someone to be waiting for somebody in a, you know, when they're sitting in a car and they're in shopping or something, you know. I mean, I don't know where people watch the videos at. Sometimes at home, big deal. It's sitting down and binging, watching Hashknife Ranch. Fantastic. We appreciate that too. Um,
Just
Leave us
tell
some
your friends.
comments about yeah, tell your friends and tell us what your favorite beer is while you're doing it. So we'll maybe commiserate with you.
All right, that's some of the pains and gains of making content for our YouTube channel. Well, with that, we will put this conversation out to pasture.